baby! Come on! Yes! Come on! Ah! Yes! Yes!
Well, I was not expecting to be hearing the news that there may be an Advanced Warfare 2 in the works for the year. I think it's like 2025/2026. I can't remember whose source it was, but basically it came out that apparently Advanced Warfare 2 is apparently, allegedly in development. But what I'm more unexpected by are all the people who just suddenly come out the woodworks just to say, oh, Advanced Warfare is really good. I'm really excited for Advanced Warfare 2. I really want to see an Advanced Warfare 2. Where the fuck were these people when the game was out? Do we have to go back in time and kind of have a look at what everyone thought about this game when it was happening? Because if I remember it right, a lot of people didn't like it. And the other side of that is, it didn't actually fall into the kind of Call of Duty life cycle that we have now, where the game comes out, there's like a 2 to 4 week time period where it's in the honeymoon phase, people actually enjoy the game, but then you kind of end up going into the rest of the year where there's extra bits within that life cycle, but essentially everyone hates the game. But then, after its whole life cycle is done, some reason when the next game comes out and there are people still on the game that had just had its life cycle die, apparently the game's good. That's kind of how it used to be, or it actually is now with Call of Duty. That didn't actually happen with Advanced Warfare. Once the game died, everyone fucked off to Black Ops 3. But here's the thing. Here's the plot twist of this video. I actually enjoyed it. Yes, I'm going to be one of those people who would be like, you know what, I wouldn't mind an Advanced Warfare 2. I'd actually like to see what it would do in the current engine and everything else that they've learned from it. More, I guess, pardon the pun, but more advanced than what they were able to do back in 2013, 2014. I guess 2014, 2015, actually, thinking about it. But what this plot twist comes with is the fact that I liked the game at the time. Like, for me, right, so my first ever Call of Duty was Black Ops 2, greatest Call of Duty of all time in my opinion. I think anyone who has their, like, whatever your first Call of Duty is, there is a bias to it and that's where you find love for the game, so that is bound to be one of your favourites. And maybe the same rule kind of applies, but Advanced Warfare was my second ever Call of Duty that I played through a Call of Duty life cycle, so maybe that plays into it a bit in terms of the nostalgia, in terms of how I was feeling at the time of playing it. But when this game was out, I was playing it and I was enjoying it and I was having fun with it. And one of the things that I've just done is basically, I've gone through, and I'll put them on screen now, but I've basically gone through a couple of videos. So I think it was Mark Music and also Jev. I went through their videos and also went through all their comments just to sort of see like some of the ones that sort of stood out and what people were overall saying, and as well as like a couple of tweets as well, but we don't really care about Twitter opinions here. However, when I look at it, the overall consensus is that people were pretty open to it and pretty positive about the whole thing and really want to see an Advanced Warfare 2, and I'm a little bit like, hold up, when was this established? Like, I'm not really talking about the whole like leak and when that came out. That's kind of you take it with a pinch of salt, and we're talking about the potential of the game coming out if it were to happen. One of these comments under, I think it was Jez's video, said, I think there's a level of nostalgia for Advanced Warfare that makes it very difficult to fail if they made a sequel. I really don't think it's that much of a risk, especially because people are going to be getting tired of modern/near modern and the slower movement that comes after the next tryout game. Now, I think that's a fair comment. I think I kind of do agree with that. However, at the same time, I do disagree with the fact of they don't really think there's a level of risk, because we're a vocal minority here. Like, I mean, maybe not, but then when, like, this happens with every game, like, we're gonna see it with Modern Warfare 2. Before Modern Warfare 2, well, actually, as Modern Warfare 2 was announced to be Modern Warfare 2, and it was kind of assumed after Modern Warfare, everyone, I mean, even you could look at Modern Warfare, but, like, let's take Modern Warfare 2 in this example, but, like, everyone remembers the old game for how good it was, and not gonna lie, that's gonna be a big portion of why this game is gonna sell. Probably to be one of the best video game like sellers ever. But that's not just because it's got Modern Warfare 2, oh, it's like that old thing we used to do. Granted, that is a part of it. It is because Modern Warfare 2 is remembered as such a good game. With something like an Advanced Warfare 2, is that the case? Because, as I will say, I actually enjoyed the game back in the day. However, I acknowledge its faults, and I also, when I went back to get some of this footage, it hasn't aged well. And if they were to kind of like update the engine, or say make a new Advanced Warfare 2, they would have to kind of use, say, the Black Ops 3 Infinite Warfare movement mechanics, because they refined it, they made it into an actual smoother, more playable sense. Now, it doesn't mean I didn't have fun when I played Advanced Warfare, by the way, when I went and replayed it, but the movement did feel quite janky and wasn't exactly, you know, it was taking some time to get used to. But back to the point of that comment, there is risk with releasing this as a potential sequel. I think it's unfair that Sledgehammer haven't ever really been able to make a direct sequel to a game. I guess if you want to get technical, you can say Vanguard is technically a sequel to World War II, or at least they link into it because of the World War II setting and theme. Can you count that? No, because no one sees it as a sequel, so no. But I think it would be nice for Sledgehammer to get an opportunity to present an actual sequel to one of their games for once. I think it would be good for them, and if they can just like be given the free reins to be like, we want a futuristic game, go make it and have fun with it. If that was something they're able to do and they can just be fully creative with it, I think it would be a great game and a great opportunity for them to do it. And who knows, it may happen, may not. But with the element of risk, it's like, we're a vocal minority, and where the fuck were we all when the game was out? It's like, if we were to take this to a casual and mainstream audience, again, with the futuristic movement, would it work? Because we tried it once, and you did it for 3 games in a row, and maybe that was what went wrong, because you tried to shove it down our throats so much. And I think one of the good factors of what Call of Duty has kind of started to do, I think Vanguard was kind of the odd one out in this sense, but I think what kind of is going well, how they're laying out Call of Duty right now, is we're being presented with different things with each developer's game. Infinity Ward get the modern time, Treyarch get the kind of 80s, 90s, in the past sort of time. Sledgehammer have obviously been dealt the kind of weird hand of being like, you're even further in the past of being in the World War, but there's only so much you can really get out of that. So if they were to be able to give them a chance to actually develop and kind of make their own, almost like Black Ops 3, Infinite Warfare style advanced movement future setting, maybe if we were presented with that as our kind of Call of Duty slate, where we have Warzone, which is kind of a blend of all of the kind of things going on. You have Infinite Warfare's game being the modern setting. You have Black Ops with the Cold War sort of era of stuff. And then you have Sledgehammer in the future. Maybe that would be a nice thing to have. It gives variety, it gives a different flavour of taste. And to now kind of rediscuss that whole thing of where the fuck has everyone been praising this game? Maybe back in those days in 2013, 2014, the creators who were on top of YouTube at the time, because let's be honest, the people who were like making videos at specific point of times, those are the people whose opinions as gamers or whatever that you kind of listen to, and it kind of makes you feel like that's the kind of general consensus of the community at the time. And at some point, that's actually fairly true, because even if you look at it now, a lot of what, say, big streamers say kind of trickles down into what the community say, because people can't think for themselves. They need people to follow. That's why we have leaders. It's how we work as humans. And maybe those content creators basically, because they didn't like the games, because they were used to how Call of Duty had been up till, say, between COD 4 to Black Ops 2, kind of that sort of time period anyway. They'd been so used to that when this new style of COD came in, didn't really enjoy it, so then the thoughts of that game kind of got ruined by those content creators, and it trickled down into the community. However, the kids who kind of just like found Call of Duty and were just playing it because it's a video game and they like to just see explosions on their screen, during that time they had fun playing the game, and now they've grown up where now they're coming out of the woodworks and actually saying their opinion on the game. So maybe that's where this sort of spark of interest in Advanced Warfare 2 has come from. It's basically exactly what happened with Star Wars with the prequels, where the films came out, everyone kind of bashed on them, but the kids who watched those films, those films were intended for, they grew up and they like them and they appreciate them, and that's maybe potentially what's happened in terms of the Call of Duty era from, from like 2013 with Ghosts all the way to 2018 with Black Ops 4. Maybe that whole time period, in like 5 years time, all the content creators who are in this sort of time period now trying to grow, and they're at very small levels, who are going to be kind of the head and the top of the streaming and the YouTube stuff, like maybe they're going to be praising Call of Duty and thinking that all the new COD games are shit, wishing that there was an Advanced Warfare 2. Maybe that will be the case. But my final kind of point on this, because I've rambled for way too long about Advanced Warfare 2, of all things, it's 2022. Why am I talking about this game? It feels weird. I'm still not over the fact Black Ops 2 is a decade old. But the final thing I kind of want to think about is that I've never heard anyone ever say anything about doing an Advanced Warfare 2. And I know we've literally just heard about it and now we're talking about it, but like, I mean from a sense of nothing came out or no videos were kind of made. Obviously there'll be a few, but there were no like big videos ever made kind of talking about what if we got an Advanced Warfare 2. In the general Call of Duty community, I've never really heard anyone really suggest it. What I have heard suggest, surprisingly, is people talk about Call of Duty Ghosts and being like, that deserves a sequel. I've never heard anyone say anything about Advanced Warfare. Like, I've never heard anyone suggest about making it into a sequel or wanting it to be a sequel. I know there will be those odd few people, but it's a very interesting development in the sense of, like, the community's overall thoughts about it. And maybe we're now going into, obviously the era of COD is changing, but the kids who grew up with COD on like the golden era, as we like to call it, I feel like that's fading out almost, and now we're going to go into the kind of new era of content creators where they may have a more passion and love for all those games that have been slagged about, really, and just not really given a shit about. Meaning that the new games that are going to come out, people are going to be like, oh no, this ain't as good as like Infinite Warfare or Advanced Warfare or Black Ops 3 or those sort of era of games. Like, it's really weird time for Call of Duty right now, and if I am honest, I hope Advanced Warfare 2 happens. God, I cannot believe we are talking about this, the whole situation. Like, Modern Warfare 2 isn't out yet, and apparently there's already been leaks for the Treyarch game in 2025. I can't, yeah, no, I'm done talking about this.